Hi, everybody. Sean McCracken, news editor for Hotel News Now, here with Keith Pierce, Sonesta's Executive Vice President of Franchising Development. Keith, we're a couple years into Sonesta as a franchising model or a franchising vehicle within Sonesta. So I'm just wondering, where are we at today? Anything new and interesting with you guys? And how does it compare to when you were kind of building the ship at first?
Yeah, so Sean, first and foremost, thanks for inviting us on, and yeah, we're 3 years, just past 3 years since we acquired the Red Line Hotel business based in Denver,
Mm-hmm.
and then 2 years since we officially launched franchising for the Sonesta portfolio of brands,
Mm-hmm.
and so today. 15 brands across our portfolio here in North America. We've launched a couple new brands in categories that we just didn't have a presence or have an offering, which hopefully we'll have a chance to chat about.
Yeah.
But look, here we stand. 3 years after the acquisition. Now the Sonesta enterprise is the eighth largest hotel company here in North America by a couple measures,
Mm-hmm.
and we're off and running.
Yeah.
We started with zero Sonesta brand franchising, 2 years ago, and now we're north of 60 open
Mm-hmm.
and operating hotels on the Sonesta portfolio, and in total, we're just inching up around 900 franchises across the entire portfolio.
Yeah, which is really just such an impressive number in general. Because when I find Sonesta to be such an interesting company to talk about, because obviously it's been around for almost 90 years in
Yeah.
some form or fashion. But this version of Sonesta, today's Sonesta, is such a new version of that. Like it's not the same thing. And you guys have really built out this company in a really substantial way in the last couple of years. It's kind of impressive to see it happen in real time.
Yeah, and certainly, for us who are in it day in and day out, it's really been an incredible, journey thus far. Again, this was born out of a pandemic,
Yeah.
and that's what makes it even more remarkable.
Mm-hmm.
To go from, as you said, a company that was a relatively small, owned and managed brand,
Mm-hmm.
to a company that comes out of a pandemic that is not only an owner, an operator, but now a franchisor with, close to 1,200 hotels.
Yeah, and obviously it was a company owned by a big institutional owner too. So I'd imagine that you have a bit more of owner focus, or maybe it's empathy for your ownership community than maybe some of the other brands might.
Yeah, it's really a unique point of difference for
Yeah.
us. I spent 30 plus years in kind of asset light, pure franchising, my background and experience.
Mm-hmm.
In this particular brand and organization, we are owners, we're operators, and now, of course, we're a franchisor. And
Mm-hmm.
as you said, our parent RMR, our REIT SVC, we've got great sponsorship, great capital partners. SVC continues to invest in their assets that we manage, whether it's acquiring new, like our
Mm-hmm.
most recent acquisition in Miami Beach, the Nautilus Hotel, or it's investing in the current estate, 200 plus managed hotels.
Mm-hmm.
SVC has committed, approximately $1 billion to enhance all of our properties through material renovation.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a real kind of point of difference today. Many years ago, there were many hotel companies that were owners and that were operators. But over the course of the last couple of decades, they've really kind of moved into just a pure asset light. I mean, there's some,
Yeah.
There's a couple out there that probably still have some more management in it. But we like this model, and we're not going to, burn down our owned estate to become asset light, because
Exactly.
the
Yeah.
SVC REIT, it has hotels in it, right? I mean,
Yeah. It's ingrained in
the
what you
REIT
guys do.
exists because it's got assets in it.
Hmm. Exactly.
So it does give us a nice point of difference. It certainly has been, I think, one of the many aspects that some of our new owners, our new franchise owners, enjoy.
Hmm.
Because to your point, if we're going to make a change, if we're going to make a standard change, or if we're going to ask for a capital improvement as a result of a product improvement plan, we've already vetted that through our owned estate.
Hmm.
And we have 200 hotels that, we're managing for our capital partner SVC. So you can be sure that vetting was pretty material
Yeah.
before we just decided to push it out to the franchise base.
Well, and I think it's worth noting SVC aren't just owners. They are, I mean, the reason Sonesta exists in the way it does today is SVC are among the most demanding owners you can find in the hotel industry in a good way. I mean, they
Yeah.
weren't willing to settle for a lot of things that other owners were. So yeah, I'd imagine.
Yeah, and they also own 34% of the Sonesta brand,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So not only, are they our largest owner in terms of the properties we manage for,
Hmm.
but they also own 34% of the Sonesta whole co.
Hmm. So talking about the ownership community, I'm wondering, I mean, obviously, as somebody in the franchising and development space, this is probably not the easiest time to get deals done in any segment of commercial real estate. So I'm wondering, how are you doing your job today, and how are you helping your owners kind of get across the finish line with projects?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, first of all, it's a very competitive space.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, the big six or the big eight major hotel companies have been doing this for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
And they're very, very good at it. And they have very, very strong commercial engines underneath them, particularly their loyalty programs. So, for us, it's more around, first of all, we're private. We're not a public company. We don't have to just put dots on the map for the sake of putting dots on the map. The new construction side of the business across all of the brands has really come to a crawl,
Yeah.
for the most part, just because of the debt side of the business and the availability of capital, the cost of capital.
Hmm.
But the conversion side of the business continues to be strong, and we've got a lot of white space.
Hmm.
Although we're 1,200 hotels, our closest competitor is 5,000.
Yeah.
Right? So we could triple the size of our portfolio just in North America and be perfectly happy.
Yeah.
Right?
I think most people would be happy with
a lot
that
of
kind
white
of growth.
space. Yeah, and there's just a lot of white space for us
Yeah.
to grow, and in this kind of world of mega hospitality brands consolidation, where you've got many hotels that are owned by the same parent brand on every street corner. Many times franchisees are looking for an alternative,
Hmm.
and really that's kind of our space.
Yeah.
We're a good alternative. We don't profess to be the same in terms of size and scale and kind of horsepower. But back to the owner operator, we have 8,000 employees.
Yeah.
So when it comes to the challenges that franchisees face day in and day out, you can be sure that we face the same challenges, whether it be on the capital front or the human capital front of things.
So since you're mentioning the big opportunity for you guys right now is in the conversion space, that's a good chance to segue into a couple of the newest brands you guys have are both soft brands. So can you walk us through what those are and what the response you've been getting from your franchisee community has been?
Yeah, sure. Let me just start. So 3 brands were launched recently, our Essential brand and then our 2 soft brands, Classico and Mod. And let me start with Essential, which was our first new brand launch. It was interesting because it was really born out of, the demand in the marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
So, by way of example, when we first started franchising Sonesta, but 2 years ago, we were getting interest from individuals who have limited service hotels.
Yeah.
They could be Hampton Inns, they could be Holiday Expresses, they could be, Comforts, they could be La Quintas, but we didn't have a Sonesta brand
Mm-hmm.
in the limited service space.
Yeah.
It's Sonesta Select, but
Mm-hmm.
Sonesta Select requires, your evening meal,
Mm-hmm.
and cocktail and F&B.
Mm-hmm.
So with that demand, we very quickly got to work and created Sonesta Essential,
Mm-hmm.
which in essence is our answer to a limited service option in the marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
So since that introduction, it has been our fastest franchise selling brand. We've probably executed around 15 agreements. We'll have 10 of them open, shortly.
Mm-hmm.
Several are already open. And then as the course of the year went on, it became very clear through additional market demand that we needed to have a solution in the soft brand space.
Yeah.
The soft brand space, every major hotel company has one, if not two,
Mm-hmm.
in their portfolio. And it really has become a segment and a category that you need to have an option, you need to have a solution.
Mm-hmm.
So we created Classico for upper upscale positioning,
Mm-hmm.
and then Mod for upscale. And again, both have been met with great interest. We announced, launched, we've already sold and opened. So our first Classico is the Z Hotel down in Miami,
Mm-hmm.
open and operating. And our first Mod, ex-Wyndham Garden at Calgary Airport, great property, converted over to the Hotel 11, a Mod
Mm-hmm.
Sonesta collection.
Mm-hmm.
So we've already, not only executed, but opened in Essential, Classico, and Mod. And that kind of rounds us out.
Yeah.
Right now that puts us at 15 brands. There's a couple other, I would say, on the fringes, segments, all inclusive, those resort all inclusive. But for now, I think we're well positioned in every one of the major, segments or categories.
Okay. So, I mean, that does lead into the next question I wanted to ask. And I mean, if obviously, 15 brands is a good number of brands, but you mentioned that each of the recent brands have grown out of specific interest. So is there something that your community of owners is asking for that you don't currently provide, or you feel like it's pretty comprehensive?
Yeah, I feel like we're positioned well right
Mm-hmm.
now. But that said, as we continue to grow in the Americas, and I'd say most notably in the islands and LATAM, the demand for more full service resort, all inclusive resorts,
Yeah.
will probably be the next potential, brand.
And that has loyalty benefits too, right? I mean, obviously it gives
does.
the burn for the earn and burn crowd.
On the burn side, yeah. And so we're fully registered to sell franchises, from Canada all the way to Mexico. I've got teams of individuals now that focus on direct franchising,
Mm-hmm.
LATAM, Central, the Caribbean. So the opportunity will present itself. We did just sign a deal, very, very large deal, that'll all new construction for our James brand and our Royal brand
Mm-hmm.
in Punta Cana.
Mm-hmm.
So, as we continue to put pressure on our development team to grow the Sonesta brand, I think we'll start to see some more requests for, as an example, all inclusive.
Yeah, that makes total sense. So, we talked about this a bit already, but I'm curious. So when you think of, like I mentioned, Sonesta has existed in one way or another for a long time, and then for a while it was kind of like a very small vehicle that now what the company is now SVC used for very functional purposes. Now it's like one of, as you're saying, the big eight. I'm just wondering how you think the larger industry should think of Sonesta now. Like, do you feel like this company has matured in a way over the last couple of years? Like, do you think that this is the fully formed version of what Sonesta is, or what you guys are trying to be at this point, or is there still kind of work to get to that point?
Yeah. So in terms of kind of the industry facing or the
Yeah.
B2B,
Yeah.
we've invested heavily in creating awareness in the industry
Hmm.
that, Sonesta is now kind of open for business from a franchising standpoint, and certainly made some noise coming out of the pandemic and the acquisition of RLH and then the take back of all the hotels,
Yeah.
from the Marriotts and the IHGs. It does take time to pull all of that together when you're pulling in a franchise business and a managed business, and you're going from basically 50 hotels to 1,200 hotels. The underpinning and the technology stacks and the culture and kind of the cohesion of it all
Hmm.
needs to come together. And I would say that we are now literally right there. We have an internal theme called One Sonesta,
Hmm.
and we are in the process of starting to pull together our conference, which will be in Las Vegas in May at the Venetian.
Hmm.
And at that point in time, when we get up on stage at the conference in May, that literally kind of puts us at the 3-year going into the 4th year mark.
Yeah.
And I would say that it's a real turning point for us,
For sure.
because and what I mean by it is that a lot of the consumer facing benefits that come as a result of this enterprise will now be realized. So by way of example, today we have 2 loyalty programs, the Travel Pass and Hello Rewards.
Hmm.
So we'll retire Hello Rewards, which we acquired with RLH, and Travel Pass will be the loyalty program that will weave through all 15 brands,
Hmm.
right? So it'll be the common currency through the whole portfolio.
Hmm.
Today, if you want to book a reservation on Red Lion, you've got to go to redlion.com. If you want Sonesta, you got to go to sonesta.com. We'll bring it together, one Sonesta, one cell, single digital storefront, those types of things, right?
Hmm.
So from an industry-facing standpoint, I believe that, we've done a great job in creating the awareness. There's always work to be done. You always have to, be present, to be in the game.
Hmm.
But it's equally as important, how do we really get the value for our owners from the consumer?
Yeah.
Right. And that's bringing these brands together, bringing the enterprise together, one site, one cell, one Sonesta, with really the kickoff at the conference.
Yeah, that fully powered, distribution loyalty engine is a pretty big deal these days, for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
So anything else new and exciting you guys have going on? Anything that you think is particular you're just champing at the bit to get out there and get completed?
Yeah, look, I mean, obviously the year's winding down. We're getting ready now for the new year. It was an incredible year for us. We purchased our property in Miami, which is an SVC purchase. We're the management of it. We have sold and opened a number of franchises, and once all those numbers are wrapped up, we'll be happy to share them. Obviously launched 3 new brands. We've kind of restructured our franchise development organization, created a luxury and lifestyle division so that we could really focus on the James and the Royal Sonesta and the Classicos. They're just bigger deals. They're more complicated.
Yeah, for sure.
The Americas are now set. The table is set for the Americas, right? Our preparation for conference in One Sonesta is all coming together nicely. So yeah, I mean, this was a big building year. But going into 2024, a lot of the building blocks are now in place.
Yeah,
and you can really
nice
focus.
feeling.
Yeah, you can really focus on growth and execution.
Yeah, for sure.
And then beyond that, I would say that we'll look for international growth.
Hmm.
Uh, it may come at the tail end of 24 and then into 25 because there's just so much room to continue to grow domestically or in the Americas. Um, but we do have a little bit of a footprint in Egypt. We certainly have a footprint in Latin America. The Sonesta name, the Red Lion name, I mean, there are plenty of countries where we can grow these brands
Yeah.
through international development, whether through master agreements or direct franchising.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think in the long scope of Sonesta's history, the international part was a focus.
It was very much so. Yeah. Yeah. No, that was with the original owners,
Yeah, for
the
sure.
original founders, as I understand the history of it all.
Mhm.
And that's in essence how, our Egypt footprint was established. And so we'll capitalize on international opportunity in the future. We just want to make sure that, our focus in North America and the things that we need to accomplish here are complete before we start really pushing hard on international opportunities.
Yeah.
It just takes time. It's just travel time and establishing the relationships, supporting and servicing those types of things.
Yeah. It's always
But it's coming.
undertaking. Yeah.
But it's coming. I mean, we've got inbound interest, from India and from China, from Vietnam, Saudi. So the interest is there.
Yeah.
We've really just been kind of patient and ensuring that we accomplish our North American or America's objectives.
I mean, India and China, famously not the easiest places to grow. So I'll wish you luck on that endeavor. But
Yeah,
not that I'm
they're
doubting
not.
you.
I mean, fortunately, I had a little bit of experience, particularly with China, with my prior background. But when you think about our brands, Red Lion, the Red Lion brand, in India,
Mhm.
the lion, the color red. I mean, these are aspects of the brand attributes that really will resonate in those countries.
Mhm.
And what you would probably do is set up masters.
Mhm.
So somebody else is really out there selling and growing on your behalf.
For sure. So you established that you're pretty optimistic for the company going into next year. How do you
Very.
feel about the larger industry, economy? I mean, what do you feel about the environment we are headed into next year?
Yeah, look, it's obviously a tricky environment. Capital is really stalled. So that's impacting the new construction side of things. The pundits have already said that your RevPARs, are going to be single digits versus what we enjoyed certainly coming out of the pandemic.
Yeah.
But I'm by nature bullish, having passed 3 decades now in the industry, and have seen some headwinds. It's an extremely resilient industry, certainly in North America. Americans, their God-given right is to travel, and from Memorial Day to Labor Day, they'll still get in the car and travel, no matter
Yeah.
gas prices can be high, their home values can be low. There can be political unrest domestically. There can be unrest around the rest of the world, and travel continues to happen in the U.S. So it's definitely going to be, I think, a softening. We do have a large portfolio in the economy space as well. And we've got almost 600 hotels plus in the economy space. The economy space is extremely resilient, and particularly in times where there's downward pressure. We have a very nice hedge portfolio.
Yeah.
From upper upscale. On our Sonesta portfolio, whether it's Sonesta Hotel or Royal Sonesta, we're in every major city and or airport for the most part. So between our economy portfolio, our Sonesta brand and our locations, we're well positioned, to weather any storms.
Well, I would hope so. I mean, the current version of Sonesta was literally born out of the worst demand environment
Exactly.
in industry
So
history.
if you reflect on the pandemic, things can't be much worse. 2019 was the best year ever, at least in my career. And 2020 was the worst, right? Within 90 days.
Yeah.
And then who would have thought? But 2021 was almost better than 2019.
Yeah,
And so
it's a roller coaster now.
yeah, so yeah, it's going to be challenging, but again, we just have so much opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we can grow selectively, we can grow methodically. You know, our capital partners are, you know, well capitalized. You know, we will look to buy, they will look to buy, you know, more hotel locations at the right time, the right pricing.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll have a really strong year. I'm really looking forward to it under the one Sonesta,
Mm-hmm.
you know, theme.
Yeah,
You know, both externally facing to the consumer as well as to the industry.
for sure. All right, Keith, this is your chance for a final word. Any last words of wisdom you want to leave us with today?
Well, first, thanks for taking the time. You know, thanks for hosting us. You know, we're depending on where you want to start the clock, whether you start the clock on the Sonesta franchise and you start the clock on the RLH acquisition and the take back of hotels, it's 2 to 3 years that we're into this. So look out, you know, rest of the industry, look out to see what Sonesta brings.
I'll be excited to see where you're at in 2 to 3 more years. Obviously, it'll be interesting to see. All right. Well, I really appreciate the time, Keith. This has been fantastic.
All right, Sean. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Isaac Colazo, Vice President of Analytics at STR.
Hi, and I'm Jan Freitag, National Director for Hospitality Analytics for the CoStar Group. Tune in to our new show, Tell Me More, a hospitality data podcast.
It's a podcast on the global hotel industry, its current trends, what we're thinking about, and where the industry's going.
And we like to have fun with the data too. Find us on hotelnewsnow.com or wherever you listen to podcasts. Subscribe today.
Thank you for listening to the Hotel News Now podcast. This episode was recorded on October 19th, 2023, and edited by Sean McCracken. Go to hotelnewsnow.com for industry news every day.